Welcome to When Liberty Remembers, the Republic Emerges. This is not a lesson, not a directive, not a demand. This is a remembering. Here we speak in story, not slogans, in memory, not instruction, in truth without coercion. Nothing you hear requires agreement. Nothing here asks permission. If something in you stirs as you listen, that is not persuasion. That is remembrance. Episode 5, The Sheriff and the Invisible Warrant. In a small town surrounded by cornfields and long-forgotten battlefields, there lived a sheriff who believed, honestly, sincerely, that his job was simple: protect the innocent, pursue the dangerous, serve the people. He wore his badge like a promise, but over the years, something quiet had changed his work. He couldn't say when the shift happened. He only knew that one day he realized he spent more time checking than protecting. Checking plates, checking licenses, checking names, checking records, checking databases. Not because he had reason to suspect wrongdoing, but because it had become routine. The computer in his patrol car glowed like a small, obedient moon, always waiting for him to ask it about someone. It never refused. It never asked why. The sheriff never asked either. The night of the stopped stranger. One evening, he pulled over a stranger for a broken taillight. A simple thing, a harmless thing. The stranger handed over his license without fear. He looked like a school teacher, or maybe a carpenter. Someone used to honest work and full days. The sheriff ran the plate out of habit, not suspicion, not necessity, just habit. Dozens of lines appeared instantly. Name, address, past stops, notes from other officers, a flag from a neighboring county, a database pull from 5 years before, insurance history, travel patterns logged by license plate readers. The stranger watched the sheriff's face change as he read the data. Data the stranger had never seen. Data he had never authorized. Data he did not even know existed. The sheriff asked, "What's this flag from County 47 about?" The stranger frowned. "What flag?" The sheriff rotated the screen slightly away. "You should know why they flagged you." "I don't," the man said quietly. "I've never even been to County 47. The sheriff felt the first tug of something he hadn't felt in years. A question. The weight of the screen. The more he looked at the screen, the heavier he felt. He realized he knew more about this man from a keyboard than he had learned from 10 minutes of face-to-face conversation. He knew more than the man knew about himself, and for the first time, that felt wrong. He remembered his oath, words that once meant something sacred, to protect rights, not to preempt them. But somewhere along the way, the screen had replaced suspicion. The database had replaced evidence, and access had replaced cause. He felt the weight of it, like a warrant without a judge, a search without a question, an intrusion without a door being opened, an invisible warrant, one no one had signed, one no one had limited, one no one had even noticed. The stranger speaks the quiet truth. The stranger watched him. Finally, he said, "Officer, did I do anything wrong?" The sheriff swallowed. "No." "Then why are you looking for something?" The question landed hard on the sheriff's chest, like a stone. He stammered, "It's just routine." The stranger nodded slowly. That's how freedom ends. Not in leaps, in routines. The sheriff felt his throat tighten. He looked at the glowing screen, its cold, artificial light, and realized he had become accustomed to searching people without ever thinking of it as searching. He had forgotten that every tap of the keys pierced someone's life, not physically, not violently, but deeply, quietly. The sheriff makes his choice. He closed the window, the screen dimmed, the intrusive glow softened. He handed back the license. "Fix your taillight," he said gently. "Yes, sir," the stranger replied. The sheriff stepped back, hand resting on his belt, but not on his weapon, for once. As the stranger drove away, the sheriff stood alone under the street lamp and whispered something he had not said in decades. A search without suspicion is suspicion without cause. And he felt ashamed that he had needed a stranger to remind him. The aftermath. The next morning, the sheriff sat alone in his office with the blinds half closed, staring at the stack of policies on his desk. Policies that encouraged checking, scrutinizing, querying, collecting. Policies that assumed everyone might be guilty of something if only someone looked hard enough. He closed the binder, locked in a drawer, and said aloud, "I will not use a database as a substitute for suspicion." From that day forward, he ran plates only when he had cause. He checked records only when danger was real. He searched only when a true oath required it. Some officers mocked him. Some told him he was falling behind. But in his heart, something ancient stirred. The memory of a sheriff belonging to the people, not to the system. And though he could not erase the databases or uproot the algorithms or dismantle the invisible machinery of pre-suspicion, he could refuse to be its instrument. What you do with what you've heard is yours. You owe no response. You owe no performance. You owe no allegiance. Take what resonates. Leave what does not. Liberty does not need to be given. It needs to be remembered. And when it is remembered, the Republic emerges.